everyone. My name is David Barbie, and I am the chairman of the Augusta Richmond County Personnel Board. I'm here to call a special call meeting of this board to order on February 2nd. And I'd like to first welcome everyone coming out, getting up and battling the snow and the cold and everything else to be down here to deal with this important and urgent matter. At this time, what I'd like to do is have my fellow board members introduce themselves. I'm going to start down here on my left, and as we go through, I'll give a brief explanation of what we're going to do today, the process we're going to go through, and then we'll get started.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Javon McCaster.
Good morning, I'm Monica Myers.
Good morning, I'm Jan Dunn.
Ronnie Masters.
Good morning, J.R. Riles. Good morning, Earl Culver.
So, Mr. White, just to give you a brief, what we're here today to do is, our job is to determine whether or not the city did their due diligence in the termination of your employment with the city. We have two requirements. We either uphold the city's recommendation or overturn it. That's it. We have no other way, we have no other ground to do anything. Once the evidence is heard, we'll go into an executive session, and then we will come out and render a vote. If you do not, or the Augusta Richmond County does not approve of our decision one way or the other, their next step of recourse is to file a suit in Superior Court. So that would be the next process along. So just to give you an idea of what we're going to do today is, I'm going to allow both sides to have a brief opening, just a few minutes, stating your positions. At that time, the city will then present its case and witnesses. They will swear in the witnesses one at a time as they come in, and counsel will be go to the officer of the court that will take care of that. Evidence presented needs to be can't be hearsay. It needs to be factual, backed up documentation. We want to keep each. I'd like to keep. We can't ever do it, but I'd like for each side to have about 30-45 minutes tops to present their case. We'll do a brief closing, then we will move to go into executive session, and then once we come out of executive session, we will render our decision. So, does anybody have any questions or concerns or questions before we get started? Hearing none, Council, I will hear your opening. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, board members. My name is Lenny Pitts. I'm an attorney for the county, staff attorney. I've been here about 4 years now. The matter before you is a disciplinary hearing for the termination of an employee with 17 years of service. The length of service is acknowledged and respected. However, this hearing is not about tenure alone. It is about accountability, adherence to policy, and whether management can reasonably rely on a senior employee to follow lawful directives, act ethically, and support the operational integrity of the organization. The evidence will show that during a short but critical period from August 4th, 2025 through September 17th, 2025, the employee engaged in repeated conduct that violated the Personnel Policies and Procedural Manual, specifically EV2, falsification or misrepresentation of an official document or record, IN1, disregard for a willful failure to follow the written instruction or direction of a supervisor or higher authority, and ED17, misconduct which undermines supervisory authority, productivity, and morale. This case does not involve a single mistake, misunderstanding, or lapse in judgment. Instead, it reflects a pattern of knowing and willful conduct that continued after concerns were raised and instructions were given. The evidence will show that on September 2nd and again on September 3rd, 2025, the employee knowingly used an outdated authorization form to approve and print purchase orders, despite being aware that a new ELF form bearing the procurement director's name and title has been in effect since August 21st, 2025. As a result, 110 purchase orders were issued with an incorrect authorizing name and title. When the issue was brought to the employee's attention, the response was dismissive, corrective action was not taken, and no IT request was ever submitted to remedy the issue. These actions constitute a knowing misrepresentation of official procurement records and a failure to conduct the business of Augusta ethically and responsibly. Sorry, this is my first time having to do one of these, so I apologize. The board will also hear evidence that the employee repeatedly failed to follow direct instructions from his department director, ranging from refusing to carry out a directive regarding a temporary credit card limit increase to a failure to transfer administrative authority as instructed, to disregarding requests for documentation related to travel and professional credentials. These were clear, reasonable management directives, and the employee's failure to comply was not accidental, it was willful. Finally, the evidence will show that the employee engaged in conduct during staff meetings that openly and repeatedly undermined supervisory authority, through demonstrative nonverbal behavior observed over multiple meetings. The employee disrupted productivity, conveyed disrespect to management, and negatively affected staff morale. This conduct occurred in front of subordinates and continued over time despite management's efforts to establish structure, professionalism, and team cohesion. Members of the board, public service requires trust, especially in positions that involve fiscal responsibility, procurement authority, and leadership influence. When an employee is in a senior role, repeatedly disregards policy, ignores supervisory direction, and undermines management in front of staff, the employer is entitled and obligated to act. At the conclusion of this hearing, the evidence will demonstrate that the termination was justified, proportionate, and consistent with policy, and that the government acted reasonably to protect the integrity of its operations. For these reasons, the county respectfully requests that the Personnel Board uphold the disciplinary action. Thank you.
Mr. White?
Thank you, Mr. Barbie. Listen at opposing counsel's opening statement. I'm not going to be as long and drawn out as her. As she said, the evidence will speak for itself. The facts will be given. Listen carefully to the witnesses. The cross-examination of the witness, they will speak for themselves. It's not one shred of evidence that they're going to produce that is factual. She mentioned the word knowingly. Please keep that in mind when the evidence, he knowingly. No policies were violated. No procedures were violated. Also, you're probably going to hear, he should have known. He should have known. The evidence will show there was no collaboration between the director and myself, though she mentioned none, not one email, nothing. So keep those things in mind. As I said, I'm not going to draw out my own opening statement. The evidence is going to speak for itself. The witnesses, once we have the question back and forth, it's going to speak for itself. It's going to speak for itself. And in the manuals you should have got are the policies. The policies for each grievance that was filed against me, each charge, and the reasonable method of reprimand. None of those were given. None of them were entertained. I didn't know anything until I was terminated on that particular day. not one conversation, not one email, not one written or verbal reprimand at all. She alluded to my tenure. He had 17 years. In your manuals, you should have not one disciplinary action, not one. So in the course of, she gave dates from August the 4th to the 20th. That's true. Those are the dates that me and Mr. Penny were together. But he said he gave an extensive evaluation of me over a 44-day period. That's not true. That's not true. 10 of those days, I was not present. One week I was on vacation. 1 week I was on the trip for training. That's in question. That reduces it to 44 days. The weekends, I'm not under his supervision. So in a matter of 22 days, he made a decision to terminate me. Again, not one reprimand, not one conversation, not anything I was doing was wrong. And what's the threshold to make a person aware that they are doing something wrong? You will see in the evidence show, it was weeks before he took action on anything that I allegedly did. Weeks. So how long do you go back? Weeks, months? In this case, he couldn't go back months because he only had been there 44 days and only had supervision over me 22 days. So please be careful to what it said, the dates, because dates matter, and how it was carried out. Thank you.
Before we proceed, would you mind swearing in Mr. White? Go ahead, if he asks, if there's any questions asked of him. Thank you.
We don't have a Bible, we're just gonna do the ritual.
Yeah.
Mr. White, you're right, sure. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. That housekeeping out of the way, let's go ahead and, council, go ahead and go ahead and present your case.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead and, so we'll swear the witnesses in one at a time as you call them.
Okay.
I don't know.
I wanted to start with Mr. Penny.
Sure.
Where are we gonna question? Because usually they're in a space.
We have lectors or whatever. You can sit, I mean, if everybody's comfortable, I'm fine, you just want to come.
Just right here?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
All right. You can raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
All right. Please state your full name for the record.
Aaron Gross Pinnock II, also known as Andy,
And where are you currently employed?
the city of Augusta,
How long have you been employed?
since August 4th, 2025.
And what is your title?
Procurement Director.
All right. And what do your job duties include?
I direct the department, lay out policies, procedures, a liaison to the other departments, and also install new technologies to streamline the department.
Are you familiar with Mr. White?
I am.
How are you familiar with him?
He was in place when I came on board, Monday, August 4th.
And so he was in place as what?
He was in place as the interim director, I would imagine, until the day I started.
And how was your working relationship with Mr. White?
Sparse, undertone of hostility.
you remember an incident involving the ELF purchase orders from September 2nd?
I am.
Can you explain what the current policy for EFL purchase orders is?
Yes. So, in the department, only the department director's name can appear on purchase orders, because the purchase orders bind the city financially to an obligation. Prior to becoming an interim director, the deputy did not print POs and knew the policy, because my predecessor, when she left, retired, his name was changed as interim onto the POs, and did know that his name should be removed from the POs after I received authority to do so. It's important to do, it's not a trivial matter, because it binds the city. And also, after being made aware, Mr. White continued to print the POs with his name on them.
Okay, so you started on August 4th. When were the POs prepared and ready for you to, with your name on them instead of Interim Director White's? Maybe the 21st?
The 21st, yes.
Can you tell me what happened on September 2nd?
On September 2nd, I was here at work. I held a team huddle, which is our staff meeting that morning. Attended commission that afternoon, which lasts from 2 to 5, hopefully. So I was in staff. At the end of the day, it was brought to my attention by one of my acquisition people, buyer, that the forms had been printed incorrectly.
Okay. The forms being printed incorrectly, would you consider this against policy?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to the next incident. Tell me about on September 15th. Was there an instruction that you gave Mr. White having to do with, I believe, credit cards?
Yes. One of our directors was in the state of Florida with her staff and was having difficulty putting her staff into hotel rooms and arranging transportation. Having managed purchase cards for the previous 3 years for Hall County, I knew the importance of having enough credit on a card to accommodate for incidentals or unexpected charges. So I instructed to raise the card from the $5,000 limit to $7,500 limit.
Who specifically did you instruct to do that?
My receptionist, Kathy Murray.
You asked her to raise the limits, or you asked her to tell someone to raise the limits?
I instructed her to tell Mr. White. If I may, it was a very dynamic situation because the director was on the phone, can't log in, or people can't get into their room, just trying to accommodate the need. So it wasn't like it was just set down like this and everything was calm.
So you asked Kathy Murray, please go tell Mr. White to raise the limit.
Yes.
Okay, and what was the next conversation that you had about the limits?
Mr. White came into my room, stood behind a chair, and said that they had $4,400 available on their credit card, and he thought that was enough. The issue isn't whether there was enough credit on the card or not. The issue was that he failed to raise to what he was instructed to do. Again, having managed P cards for years, I knew incidentals and unexpected charges can rack up. I didn't want to have to keep doing it. So what I wanted was enough credit to see them through the trip.
Okay. And did you have the ability to raise the limit yourself?
I don't think so at that time.
Did you ask anyone to add you to the credit card so that you would be able to raise the limit?
Yes, I asked Mr. White. He cannot arbitrarily do that. There has to be a form sent to ELAN, E-L-A-N, Financial, adding a person. But there was no discussion of this is what you need to do, this is how you do it, let me walk you through it. There was none of that.
So Mr. White never added you so that you would be able to raise the limit as you would need for your position?
No.
Did you have to end up getting someone else to do this?
Yes, my administrative service manager did so.
Okay, can you tell me about the FTA training Mr. White signed up for?
Yes, FTA, Federal Transit Authority training, was held in New York. I knew that Mr. White had scheduled to go to the training because it appeared on my Outlook calendar. However, there was no discussion about it. The issue isn't whether the training was justified or not. The issue was that as a new director on board, my deputy director was going to go on a week-long trip to New York and have zero conversation with me about it. Again, the only way I knew about it is I saw it on my Outlook calendar. So I requested Mr. White to give me a summary of what the training was, what it was for, what he was going to get. Mr. White brought to me a copy of the email confirming his enrollment, and then a copy of his certificate from the previous training. Again, that was not a summary.
Did you ask Mr. White for a copy of his resume? Did you ask all of the employees for a copy of your resume? And did they submit them?
Yes. At that time, I had 14 employees, and I asked them all to come and meet me, like an interview, bring an updated resume so that I could ascertain if their current job duties matched their resume and assigned duties, which I found several were mismatched. All staff members met with me and brought copies of their updated resumes, except Mr. White.
All right, so how did the Tuesday team huddle start?
I had 7 prior. Team huddles happened every Tuesday at 9 a.m. as a way for all the team to hear what's going on and for me to give policy updates and procedure updates.
Was that happening before you started, or did you start it?
No, I started it.
Okay.
The second week I was employed.
Okay. And can you tell me how it normally goes? How does it handled when you meet with all of them?
We sit in our conference room, which is almost the size of this, around the big table. All the staff sits around. I have all the staff meet at the exact same time so that they can hear everything that I say. New policies, new procedures, reminders of current policies and procedures, and then I ask the team members how their projects are going.
And what did you observe about Mr. White's behavior in these meetings?
The behavior indicated to me did not want to be there, did not want to be supportive. On one occasion, Mr. White came in, slumped in his chair, dropped his head. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that, but shaking his head, threw his pen on the table, crossed his arms several times, and was just in a defiant stance towards me.
And how did this type of behavior affect the huddles? And what did you observe of the others' behavior, the other people in the meetings?
Well, so all the staff was there. And so when Mr. White was exhibiting this behavior of disrespect, all the members could see it and observe it. And it had an effect upon them that I would think, and you would have to interview them, that if Mr. White could show disrespect, then I can too. And I wanted to swell that. I have found since then all the other employees to give me very much respect and work towards the success of the department. I've not had any impediment from any other employee.
And so the atmosphere, how's the atmosphere now in the office?
Calm. It is no longer wreaked with havoc or chaos. The atmosphere prior was very hostile, The day I started, the team had a luncheon prepared for me. People from admin came, people from the marshal's office, people from finance came, introduced themselves. But I could tell in the room, it was very easy to discern a substantial tension and undercurrent of hostility in the room. I was actually shocked and had wondered if I made a mistake of accepting the position, because I did not anticipate the environment, the client, to be so pervasive and divisive. And I realized my work was cut out. Morale was at an all-time low. The first thing I had to do for any policies or procedures or technology is I needed to step forward and help raise the morale of the entire department, which had been decimated.
Did you have anything that you wanted to add, since you were the manager who did the termination?
How much can I add?
Try to keep it succinct and not.
Okay. In these three instances, these are just three instances, a microcosm of a much wider range of behavior. Bad behavior, misconduct, demeaning, aggressive, I would say abuse towards the female employees in my department and other departments.
Mr. Blake, would you like to you have any questions for the witness? Mr. Bennett?
Yes,
Okay,
actually I have several.
all right.
First, as we go back, first, when opposing counsel asked him what my role was, he said he guessed I was intern director. You can't have two directors at the same time. I went back to
Yes, sir, I understand. You have questions, specific questions for this witness right now.
Right.
I understand I understand your point. I'm just trying to, I need to get it framed as a question.
Okay.
Back there.
So what was my role when you came aboard, Mr. Penny?
Your role before I came on board,
No, when you came.
your role was to be reverted back to deputy director.
Refer back to deputy. I was deputy.
You were interim director until I was hired.
Correct. So once you came to full, I was the deputy director.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
What was my title? What was my role when you began August the 4th?
Deputy director.
Okay, deputy director. That's not what you articulated to the board when you started, so, okay. You mentioned, went right into the ELF. So from August the 4th, and I wrote down, you said your name was put on the POs the 21st. Whose name was on the POs being printed from August the 4th to your name? Whose name was on it?
Well, in the department,
Whose name was on it? That's the question.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to answer the question.
Okay.
In the department, my name was, as of that date of the 21st.
That was not the question. Whose name was being printed on the PO from August the 4th until IT changed it to your name? Whose name was on it?
I would think, I didn't review that.
You didn't review that.
It would be your name.
So, what did you say? It was my name? Okay.
Yes,
So
I
it's
don't
not,
have, I don't have proof of that, no.
you have proof in your documentation showing a PO that was printed before I was asked to print on the 2nd. So now you don't recall my name being on the POs from August the 4th to you were approved by IT? Is that what you're telling the board?
Objection. He answered, he doesn't know.
Okay,
Stay.
he doesn't know. Okay. Okay. So, you stated you were put on by IT the 4th, not, excuse me, the 21st. So from the 21st on, it printed your name. You were not sure whose name was on prior to that. In your package, I took vacation that week. That week. Upon my arrival back from vacation, me being your deputy that is supposed to assist you.
Objection. He's testifying, he's not
Yeah.
asking a question.
Yeah, you have to ask a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you tell me your name had been added to the POs?
I don't know if I told you specifically, but the entire department knew.
So that would be a no, you didn't tell me.
I do not think I had to tell you.
Okay. So you said the rest of the department, no, did you tell the rest of the department?
Yes, did you tell the rest of it?
The record department.
But can you repeat? I'm sorry.
Did you tell the rest of the
It's hard
department
to
your
hear.
name?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, the department told me my name needed to be on it, and it needed to be changed.
The rest of the department told you what?
That my name needed to be on the POs.
Okay. So the rest of the department told you your name needed to be on. So in my tenure as interim director,
Objection. Testimony.
You need a question.
okay, question. So you did not know your name needed to be on the POs?
I believe that it would have been added. I would have thought that it would have already been added.
Did you check to make sure?
No, I just assumed that it would be.
You said. So once they were added, once your name, you had confirmation that your name was added to POs. Okay. Did I ever print a PO prior to the date in question? Did I do any printing?
I'm not sure, because normally the acquisitions team has the administrative services manager to print POs on a daily basis.
Okay.
I did not know it was your responsibility to print POs. I don't know why a deputy director would have to print POs.
According to policy,
Objection. Testimony.
okay, did you ever print any POs?
Yeah, I did. Once. How far?
Can I? The time period while he was there, did you prep POs?
No, I object to that. I mean,
So go ahead and answer the question.
I printed POs starting on the week of the 25th.
the week of the 25th. Did you print POs every day?
No, because I had an administrative services manager that normally, that was her duties. part of her duties to print those.
So the week that you printed, or the times that you printed, why didn't you print?
Why did I not print?
Why did you print? You just told us your administrative assistant that was her job, so why did you print?
I think because you were out for a whole week of vacation and a whole week of training.
A whole week of vacation, a whole week of training. What does me being out have to do with you printing when you have just stated that was not a role of a deputy director to do?
So what happens is that the POs are processed by the acquisitions team. It's separation of duties for someone else to print the POs. So the person that enters the POs aren't the people that print the POs. And for obvious reasons. So upon occasion, when there's a problem with our Central Square software system, it becomes necessary for me to print POs in the absence of my administrative services manager. I have the authority, I've done so, but it was not a daily duty. I'm not sure why the deputy, by the director, would need to do that on an ongoing basis.
Okay, so the day in question, the second, I was asked by a team member,
Objection.
Just, yeah, ask a question. Can you form that into a question? That's sustain. You need to form those into a question.
why was I asked on September the 2nd to print POs?
There was an electrical shortage with the printer, and they got backed up in the queue. And a team member did go to Mr. White and ask him to print the POs, to which he did. I do not have a problem with him printing POs. The problem was when it was brought to his attention that his name as interim was still on the POs, that he did not change it. In fact, we had to go in and reprint many of the POs.
So you just said I was asked to print the POs on the day in question. And you stated before this board, that's not something I should have been doing. Did staff not know not to ask me? That you instructed them not to ask me that that was no longer my duty?
I'm trying to understand the question. Are
Did
you asking me why?
staff know I was not supposed to print? Had they been told that by you? Keep in mind, with that question, in the brief conversations we had, you told me you had to change any of my duties or my responsibilities or anything that I could do prior to you coming. So, did staff know you no longer wanted me to print?
I don't think it was necessary to make that point. It was generally known. And also, Mr. White was interim director for like 10 months. So the staff was used to going to him. However, before Mr. White became interim director, he didn't print POs. The deputy does not print POs. The accounts payable in finance are not supposed to pay invoices if the director's signature is not on the PO.
Object. I object on the grounds we have been back and forth through this, and Mr. Pennick has repeatedly said he don't know whose name was on the POs from the fourth one to his name was added to it. So it is contradictory to what he is saying.
What are you objecting to?
He's testifying. You have called me into question about testifying.
He's answering, no, sir, he's answering your question, so that's, he's answering, you asked the question, he just answered it. So he's not testifying, he's answering.
But he went back into the history where I was a interim director. That has no bearing on this.
He just answered your question. So, let's, do you have any more questions? Do you have other questions?
I don't think I got a question. I asked him why did they go to him to print on that day? Why did she go to you?
I would think that's a question for those witnesses.
Okay.
Okay, that's, yeah, fair enough. Anything else?
As
Yeah, do you have anything else for, Mr. Beck?
not as it relates to,
Okay.
well, I do.
Yeah, I've got a question briefly for you real quick, Mr. Warren. You had a trip scheduled for New York, for training in New York, is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. When was that trip scheduled? Was that trip scheduled prior to Mr. Benton being hired?
Where I registered for the class in April.
In April? Okay.
You should have documentation in my documentation. I registered in April.
Okay. And when were you, when were you titled as the interim director for procurement?
In September. It happened the week of the hurricane.
September.
My boss of last year.
September
My boss.
24.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't say September 24, I was over there, but it was in September. It was
September
the week-
2024, right?
Right.
Okay.
It's when the week Helene happened.
Yeah, I got you, yeah. I just wanted to get an idea.
I was out of town
Okay.
training again, so it's not something I didn't do as far as training is concerned, but I was out of town.
Mhm.
The previous director resigned that Tuesday of that week.
Right.
I got a call from the administrator briefing me on a couple of things when I got back. The hurricane happened that Thursday, so it was kind of bam, but it was the week of the hurricane.
Okay. Right. Anybody have anything real quick?
Can I
before we
finish
move
on your
Yeah, go ahead.
question about
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
trip? It was already in place. It had nothing to do with him coming. Normally, when you do a trip, the person that signs off and okays the trip is your immediate supervisor. My immediate supervisor at that time was the administrator. I have documentation for you to show you, for each one of you, where she signed it.
Okay.
I don't think I have enough for everybody. It's front and back. But you'll see the check where it was done, the date it was cut. And on the back of that, is, her signature. But he alleges in this paperwork that I did it on or around the 28th of August. You can clearly see that is not possible. The trip was already planned. In your documentation, you also have something from the school, which is Rutgers University, and that's who runs the program, where the representative, Mr. White, you registered for this class in April. Now, the correspondence he got from me, he referenced, he said, I gave him an email reminder. That's typical of what they do. They send you an email reminder. I registered for the class in April. I wasn't taking the class until September. So a couple of weeks out, they remind you, listen, your class is coming up. So I gave him a summary. It was a summary that you should have in your paperwork, if you go through your paperwork, it explains down to the T what the class entails. The length of the class, the topics that will be discussed, the instructors, the location. So how much more summary did he need? And if what I gave him was not adequate, why not ask again? This is not what I'm looking for. This is not what I'm looking for. Also, he said there was no correspondence from me about it. That's not true. If one of the witnesses he has on his list shows up, we had a discussion. This particular witness and I, along with Mr. Penny, about the importance of going on the trips. We had just had a triannual review from FTA. Going to the classes helps you properly when it comes to bidding or procuring services with FTA money. That's the purpose of the training. Mr. Pennick said where he came from, he didn't have transit. So I would have thought, since you hadn't dealt with transit, you would have been kind of ecstatic to have somebody that's knowledgeable in FTA guidelines and procedures. The city of Augusta gets quite a bit of FTA money. Myself, along with Ms. Williams, who's on this witness list, probably have the most experience in the department when it comes to FTA. So it wasn't a trip to take a vacation or a trip to get out of office. It was a trip to help the city when we get FTA money. And as you said, all the receipt is proud to him coming. So I don't know what the big deal was about me taking the trip when it was clearly had nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with him coming. Nothing.
When did you book the flight? When did you, so?
The flight was booked July.
Yeah, so when did, this is the registration, correct?
That is the registration,
For the
that's what it
class.
is. Right. And if you read it, it tells you what the course is gonna be about.
Yeah, when did you register for that? I'm trying to understand when you registered for the class.
April the 4th.
Okay.
April
Well,
4th.
it doesn't show, it doesn't, the only thing I say, it doesn't show. up.
Yeah, no, it doesn't show you.
That's what I'm
But that's what I gave you. He said you want a survey. That's a survey, that detailed
Okay.
everything
Yeah, I
about it.
understood that. I'm just
About
trying to
the
figure out,
class.
because nothing was done with regard to this trip until the end of July. Because that's when you were, given the authority, that's when you had your written request.
Right, it has to be approved.
I got
Right, it has to be approved by transit. First of all,
Yeah,
transit pays for all the travel, so nothing comes out of the procurement budget.
that's not what that's.
Right,
that's
so,
totally
right, it
fine.
has to be approved.
Yes.
You'll see where I submitted, the administrator, you have to give me.
Yeah, all that was done.
Right, all that was done.
I'm just trying to understand when you actually, because seems to me, there's just an issue of communication between you and you. I mean, that's just, it's
Well,
clear as day, it's clear as day.
Well, I would agree, but I gave him everything
No, I
he
understand,
asked for.
I understand.
It was done prior, but he alleges
Mhm.
on my termination that I did it on or around August the 28th. That's not possible. If you look at it, that's not possible at all for me to do.
No. Mr. Pennick, did you sit down with Mr. Smith the moment you were hired and
Mr. White.
Mr. White and have a meeting of the minds? Did y'all ever get together and discuss his duties?
We talked. I did tell Mr. White that I had not changed any of his duties nor his direct reports, but I did interview each employee individually.
And did you interview Mr. White?
He did not come. So, if I may, this is a complete and total lack of self-initiative. Mr. White had told me several times, you didn't come to me, you didn't come to me, you didn't tell me. I would think as a brand new director coming in from the outside that the deputy director with 17 years experience would know to come to the director and say, how can I help you? How can we be successful? this is what you need to do. Oh, by the way, I'm going on this trip. By the way, we need to do this. We need to set up that. There was no self-initiative, zero. So the response I get back is, you didn't tell me. My response is, you didn't come to me and ask. Where all the other staff, I mean, I'd have 3 to 5 people deep in my office. I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
You know, well, I'm just trying to understand why you requested everybody, he worked for you. You requested everybody to come in. You requested everybody to come in to meet with you, provide a resume, and everybody did, except for Mr. White.
That's true.
And I'm kind of puzzled as to, you know, why either was the request just flat rejected, and at that point, because how soon after did you arrive, did you get the job, that you walked in, that you scheduled meetings and put the request out to meet with?
I believe it was the second week I was there,
Okay,
on a Tuesday at Team Huddle.
gotcha.
So I tell all the staff at the same time
Right.
what I need to do.
Did Mr. White appear at the team huddles as you orchestrated and organized?
He only missed 2,
Okay,
when he was on vacation
right,
and when he was at the training.
okay,
Again, if I may, if I were a deputy director and a new director came in, I would go, hey, I was on vacation.
Object,
What did I miss?
object, that's opinionated. That's opinionated.
sustain. All right, we'll, okay, let's, let's move to the, you got another, yes, go ahead.
So the next person will be Ms. Tamika Williams.
Thank you.
Mr. Dean, take our rest real quick.
Sure, you're fine. We still maintain it.
Okay.
Wait on one person, okay?
No, we're fine.
Oh,
We still have a
okay.
quorum, so we're good.
Raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell that your testimony, do you promise that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
Yes.
Please state your full name for the record.
Tamika Williams,
Where are you currently employed?
City of Augusta Recreation Department.
And how long have you been employed?
Since January 6, 2025, it's a little over a year.
And what is your title?
Recreation Director.
What do your job do?
Overseeing the entire Recreation Department, which is various divisions, and working with various internal departments, so I oversee the whole entire Recreation Department.
Are you familiar with the appellant in this matter, Mr. White?
Excuse me?
Are you familiar with Mr. White?
Yes.
Okay. How are you familiar with Mr. White?
He was the interim director, period, when I came in.
Do you remember an issue with your credit card when you were out of town in September?
Yes.
Can you tell me what happened?
I went to conference and a couple of my staff went to conference, and the staff contacted me at the hotel and told me that their rooms were not paid for, it was being charged on their card. So once I had checked into my room, I ended up going over to their location. As I was going over there, I had got a call from Mr. Pittman, and he asked me was I having an issue with my card? And I said, well, I'm on my way to my staff's hotel so I can be able to see what's going on. I initially called my staff at the office because I wanted to make sure that I had enough on my card on my way over there to take care of everything. And so when Mr. Pennant called me, he said that he was going to get my card increased to make sure that I actually had enough. So once I got over to, on my way over to the hotel, then I had the Miss Kathy, she contacted me and said that she had to, just wanted to know, had I made over to the hotel yet? And I said, no. She said, because I was told to increase your card. And I said, well, okay, I'm on my way over there now. And she informed me that Derek had came over to ask why that my card had to be increased. And so she was just did what at the time Mr. Pennant had told her to do. So I told her I'm just trying to get over to the hotel to see what's going on over there. When I finally got over there, I did take care of their rooms on the card. And then after that, I did receive a call from Mr. White saying, you know, what was wrong with your card? But by that time, I paid for everything. And I said, what's wrong with my card? Because I knew I had already did the charges. And he said, well, I was told you needed an increase. And I said, well, everything went through now. And he said, well, you didn't need an increase because you had, it was like over 4,000 on the card. And I said, well, everything is taken care of now. So if I don't need to, you know, do anything else, I thought you was calling me because of my card, something was going to happen to my card, and I knew I just charged the rooms. And so he said, well, no, I was told that you needed your increase, but you had enough on your card. And I said, oh, okay, that's fine. I don't need to use the card for anything else anyway. Everything will be charged on the day of. We verified all the charges that was, you know, was pending. And then we got off the phone. He told me to call him if I needed any more, if I had any more issues. But I told him I shouldn't have to because I didn't have to do anything else.
So you said Mr. White said to call him if you had any issues?
Yes, so when I talked to Mr. Pennant at first, when he was told he was gonna raise a card, if I had any issues, he asked me to call him. And then when Mr. White called and was verifying everything, both of them told me if I had any issues to call either one of them.
So at that point, if you had any issues, who would you call first? You don't know.
Yeah, I really.
Okay.
I mean, both of them gave me the open invitation to call either one of them. So I mean, whichever one. I mean, I knew I had that option to do so.
Okay. That's all my question.
Right. Mr. White, do you have anything?
Did you have problems with your card?
I did not.
You did not. So, in your opinion, you didn't need a credit line increase?
No, my main thing was making sure that I had enough money on my card to cover it because wasn't expecting to pay for their rooms because I thought it was already charged. But according to what we found out, they hadn't been charged yet, they were just on hold.
Right, because the story I got.
Objection.
Objection.
Testimony.
Testimony. Ask the question. You have to ask questions.
My question is, okay, you didn't need, the only thing I take exception to, you said, I call you to verify what was needed, is that correct? What you needed?
Yeah.
Because I.
Objection, leading.
You have to ask the question. You can't lead them. You can't lead.
So I took care of the situation or handled the situation that you needed. Despite, you weren't privy to what I was told, but your situation was taken care of.
I paid for the rooms on the credit card. That was the whole thing.
So you didn't need me to do
No, Mr. Penny said that he would do the
He
increase.
said he would do it. Were you seeking a credit authorization? Approval to do a credit authorization? Because that's what I was told. Not an increase, a credit authorization.
If my credit card was not at the amount that it needed to cover.
You need a permit for the authorization, right? Because the authorization and the credit limit increase is different. That's one. As the credit card administrator at that time, I had the ability, the city had a policy, if you were charging over $500, you had to get authorization. That's what I was told. You need it. So when I call you, I call you with facts about your account, correct? You had this amount, you could do this, you could do that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So based in your mind, you really wasn't seeking,
Objection.
You gotta ask her a question.
were you seeking a credit line increase?
I was seeking to make sure that the amount that I had on my card was enough to cover for our hotels.
So in essence, that would be a credit authorization, is that correct?
Yes, I guess it would.
Okay. And did I not assure you, you could make the credit authorization?
Yes, with the amount that I had,
Did I also, did not stay on the phone to make sure it went through?
yes.
So I did what needed to be done. Despite what I was told, I realized you don't know what I was told, but I solved your problem. Or the problem you thought you may have. Because I realized your staff had used a third party. You thought that authorization was on the card, so that would have diminished your credit ability to charge with that. And I told you, I instructed you it was not there, is that correct?
You instructed me.
I told you that authorization that you were concerned with was not on your card, and you had the availability to do whatever you wanted to do.
Yes, because I had enough on my card.
Right. And as you stated, I said if there are any other problems, to call me. Is that correct? Thank you.
Anybody else, anything else?
No,
All
no.
right. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
And she can be excused?
Yes, you're excused. Thank
You're
you.
excused.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next witness is Kathy Murray. Sorry. It's okay. Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you give today is the truth, nothing but the truth? That you will give will be the truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God? Please state your full name for the record.
Kathy E. Murray,
And where are you currently employed?
Procurement Department,
How long have you been employed?
20 years.
Ms. Murray, can you speak up? I want to make sure everybody can hear. I want to make sure everybody can hear you in the room. Thank you.
What is your title?
It is a procurement admin,
And what do your job duties include?
getting an increase on credit cards, all the administrative duties, getting reservations signed, or taking care of any discrepancy that we may have.
Are you familiar with Ms. White?
I am.
How are you familiar with him?
He was the interim director of the procurement department.
So you worked there 20 years
Yes.
and he's worked there 17. You know him more than just the interim director, correct?
Yes.
I want to ask you about a specific incident involving the credit card with the director of the Recreations and Parks, Ms. Williams. Do you remember an issue that was occurred in the office with Ms. Williams on September 15th?
I do.
Can you tell me what happened?
Sure. Got a call from her, Tanya Mason, and her deputy saying that they were having an issue with her team signing into the hotel for a conference because it didn't go through. And they asked for an increase. And I told her to submit the form for the increase just in case her card did not go through or she didn't have enough money. I got a director. Talked to Mr. Penny, he's the director, and told him the situation. And he asked me to go to Mr. White to get that card increase.
So, sorry, not to interrupt, but he told you to ask Mr. White to get an increase?
Yes,
Or to look into the issue and figure out what was going on?
to look into the situation, what was going on, as well as increase and give them what they needed.
Okay, and I saw an email that all of
Yes.
you should have.
Yes.
In that email, what did you put in the email?
I stated that it had been increased, and if they had any issues to reach out to Mr. Penny and Mrs. Giselle. And I do have the exception form where Tanya and Yolanda requested an increase on the credit.
So they requested an increase. You emailed them that it was increased. Was it increased?
From what I understood it was, I don't know.
Who told you that it was increased?
I just left it at that. I'm not really sure if anybody told me. What I did send was the email stating that it was increased. And this is all I have.
All right, you stated previously that Mr. Pennick had stated that he wanted you to tell Mr. White to increase.
Yes.
But you just stated that he wanted him to look into it and increase it. So did you tell him that he wanted him to look into it and increase it? Or did you just say, tell him to increase the limit?
He told me to ask him to increase it. And speaking with Mr. White, because he's the only one that has the authorization to increase and to look into the system to see what their amount is. And I was instructed by Mr. Penny to ask Mr. White to increase the credit card to give the recreation what they needed.
Okay. So the directive was, Mr. White, please increase the credit card limit.
Yes.
And is that all that was requested of you after you told Mr. White? Was there anything else that happened with the credit card that you were aware of?
No.
All right, so now I'm gonna go to the Tuesday team photos. Have you always had them, or was this new?
This was new started by Mr. Penny as the new director.
All right, and do you like the team photos?
Yes, I enjoy it.
Can you tell me how they're handled?
Mr. Pennick will come in and do an icebreaker. We all to attend, and he would go over things that's new, upcoming, or issues or concerns that is coming up with the department. And then he would go around the room and ask each individual if they had anything, or if they knew of any problems are coming up, or any new situations that he is not aware of.
Before Mr. White's departure, how were the meetings with him in the meetings? What was his behavior?
Very condescending, negative. It was, felt like it was an attack sometimes. Wasn't friendly, very aggressive at some times. And just felt like if there was an issue, you were being attacked or was afraid to even say anything.
How was Mr. White as a interim director to you?
Object, it has no bearing on what accused of.
Sustained. What, you answer.
He was very aggressive with me. He treated me like I didn't have any parts of the team. He made me feel inconsiderate. He was very negative, and he would say little things under his breath. He would walk past me in the hallway. One incident and bumped my shoulder, and Ann told me I should have moved over something so he could walk that we was crossing paths.
And how did this type of behavior make you feel?
Very threatening. I got to the point where I didn't like to come to work. I didn't feel protected. I didn't feel like the city had my best interest. Even I reported these issues and concerns. So I felt like I was failed at some sense. And then it continued to go on, to allow it to continue to go on. And even if he asked me to do something, it was such a tone, it was so aggressive that, you know, why would you even talk to me in that tone? You know, like a...
Objection again, what does that have to do with the credit card?
He's answering the question.
How do you feel now that you have Mr. as your boss?
At peace, eager to come to work. He's always got it open where you can learn. I didn't feel like I'm isolated. It's more of a team environment. I feel just relaxed. It's just a part of the team.
Those are all my questions.
Okay.
On the day in question, the 15th, you stated that you were told to instruct me to, Ms. Kennedy instructed you to tell me to increase the limit and to check in to see what's going on with the card. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So checking into what's wrong with the card, wouldn't that require me to see if the status of the card, the amount of credit on the card?
Were you the only person who was authorized to
The
use?
question was, wouldn't that entail me to see the status of the card, the credit in question, for its availability on the card?
Yes.
Did I do that in your presence?
Yes.
Did you ever at any time tell me Mr. Penny said increase the card?
Yes. When I came to you the first time, I said, Mr. Pennick said increase the credit card.
And
And you're looking into it.
so in your opinion, because you have stated that you were tasked with getting increases and getting credit authorization, did the card need to be increased?
Objection.
Well, go ahead and answer your question.
Well, the card needed to be increased because they were at a conference and we wanted them to be covered. Well,
We be able,
the director, Tamika, of the recreation.
no,
and-
you said we
And-
wanted to, we,
Well, the email came in and the phone call came in from the deputy director of Recreation Parks and her administrator. So she asked me and she sent the form over to increase that card.
Okay.
And so that's what I was given the information to Andy, and the director came from him to increase the card, so I was.
Did you show me that form?
I did not.
Okay, so basically, I was going on what
Can I ask the question?
you did show me the form that stated the increase. You just stated that, correct? So, would you say in your opinion, did I know what Mr. Penny directed was?
Yes,
How, if you didn't show me the
because it
form?
came from me. I told you, I asked you, that Mr. Pennick said to increase their credit card.
But you didn't show me the form.
Right.
You said where the increase was wanted or authorized. You didn't show it to me.
Right, because it came from the director, Mr. Penny. Now, you never went to Mr. Penny to even see if that's what he needed done. You was only going on what I told you, but you did never go to Mr. Penny to see if it was, or even to let him know that it was approved, or it even increased. You never went to Mr. Penny.
Well, in your statement, you said you saw me going to Mr. Penny's office after.
No, I never said that.
That's your witness statement.
I said that I was given the direction from Mr. Penny.
The last sentence on your witness statement, thereafter, I saw Mr. White going to Mr. Penny's office.
Right. I didn't know what you discussed. I don't know what
Right,
was said.
right.
I sent out an email to cover me and Mr. Penny to the director.
I'm not questioning the email. I'm not questioning the email. You said I never went to Mr. Penny.
I don't know what you discussed. I don't know what your reason for going to Mr. Penny. I did my part. I covered me and Mr. Penny by the email, sending it to the director stating that her part was increased.
She's answered the question.
So the last line was an error in your part of your witness statement.
Objection, pass that.
And she's answered the question. You've asked and she's answered. Do you have anything further?
No.
Miss, real quick, Ms. Murray, your relationship with Mr. White and your perception of being, hostile, aggressive, whatever, did you ever consider taking your complaints and concerns to HR?
Yes. I have filed a complaint against Mr. White.
When did you do that?
That was in 2022.
How was that resolved?
I don't think it was resolved because I was put back into that department.
Can I respond? Since it entails me,
Briefly,
Yeah,
yes.
well.
Mhm.
no findings.
All right, next witness.
Next minute witnesses. Audrey Sutton. Raise your right hand. I'm winging this each time, so do you promise that the testimony that you're giving is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
All right, please state your full name for the record.
Audrey Sutton,
And where are you currently employed?
the procurement department.
How long have you been employed?
In the procurement department, I've been there 3 years,
How long have you been with the city?
5 years.
Can
Can you speak up a little bit? Yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
I've been
yeah.
in the procurement department for 3 years, and I've been with the city for 5 years.
And what is your current title?
Administrative Services Manager.
What do your job duties include?
Basically reporting to the director and assisting with the tasks for the director for the procurement department. And also, I supervise 5 staff members for the procurement department.
Are you familiar with Mr. White?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you familiar with him?
Because when I initially came to work for the procurement department, I worked under Mr. White. I came in as a bid and contract specialist too, and then I got promoted to the administrative services manager position.
Do you remember an incident involving the ELF purchase order forms from September 2nd, 2025?
Yes, I do.
Can you explain the current policy used for the ELF purchase orders?
Yes, ma'am. The ELF form is basically the signature of the director giving approval for purchase orders from $1 to multi-million dollars. So when you approve purchase orders in the Central Square system, that's giving approval and printing for purchase orders to be sent up to accounting for them to be paid. And from the time I've been there, only the director and the designee has been the people that approved and printed purchase orders. And it is the director and the designee has always been the person in my position that has approved purchase orders.
So when the prior director left, Ms. Sams, it was moved over to who?
Mr. White. Prior to that, I think Ms. Sims was the initial person for the Central Square system. So it was Ms. Sims and her administrative services manager, Sheila Polk. And then it went from Ms. Sims to me when I took over that position. And then when Ms. Sims left, Daryl, as the interim director, took over that interim director position. It was supposed to be just Daryl White and I that printed the purchase orders for the procurement department.
Okay. So did you have to teach Mr. White how to do this?
I did. When Mr. White came into the position, Mr. White had no knowledge of how to work in the Central Square system as far as approving and printing purchase orders. Mr. White had, I had to train him on approving purchase orders, removing and putting the F form back onto Central Square. Because the F form, what it is it's a program, but it would fall off, like if the lights went out, if the printer or something was disrupted or something in the acquisitions team office. If that happened, it would knock it off, and you would have to go back in the computer, and you would have to put that director's name back onto that F form. And the F form has been changed 3 times. Miss Jerry Sims was first, Daryl White, who when he came into the position, he knew the process of the F form because Jeff from IT had to get him into the system and had to get him put back under the system under Mr. White. And then when Andy came into the position, Mr. Andy had to go through the same transition of getting that signature put into Central Square, so that he is now the director and the approval of the purchase order. As of, I think, 8/21, Mr. Andy's name started coming out on the purchase orders. That means he took responsibility for the approval and printing of the purchase orders, and so did I. And I think Mr. White's last day of printing purchase orders was 8/20. And he has stayed on there a little longer than the transition from him and Miss Sam because of Miss Sam's retiring like that. And once she retired, Daryl's name had to instantly get put in there so we could keep the purchase orders going. But when Mr. Pennick came in, it took a little time for them to transition the purchase orders over to Mr. Pennick's name because Darryl was still there and able to print up until 8/20 of 25.
And under a normal on a normal everyday basis, was he printing or was someone else printing? And he only came in for something, like, what was the process as far as who would normally everyday print these items?
Normally, everyday printing normally would be me, the administrative services manager. But when Mr. White took over, he was learning and he was, you know, I was showing him different things that you could do with the system, like reprint purchase orders, different stuff like that. So he did a lot of the printing in the beginning when he took over because he was learning the system and learning how to print, learning how to reprint, I was learning him how to put the F form back on there if it came out off or anything like that. But after his learning period, I went back to doing the majority of printing the purchase order, same as with Mr. Andy Pennick. And when Andy came on, Darryl didn't do no training with Mr. Andy. I was left to train Mr. Andy with helping him with the purchase orders and learning how to print, learning how to reprint, and learning how to put that F form back on.
Okay, and can you tell me what happened, where you were on September 2nd?
Well, on September the 2nd, I went back and looked because I knew I was absent when the situation took place, but when I went back to look, I was at work that day, but I left at 2 o'clock. I took vacation from 2 to 5. But Mr. Andy was here the 4 day because we mostly, even Darryl and even Miss Sam, either Darryl was present or I was present because while we could keep those purchase orders running. And on that particular day, I left at 2, but Mr. Andy was here to 5.
Was this a Tuesday?
8/2. I mean, not 8/2, 9/2. I think it was a Tuesday. Yes, ma'am.
And okay. What happened on the 3rd when you came back?
When I walked in on the 3rd, before I could even sit down when I came in, Marcy Williams with the acquisition team, she came over. And Marcy said, Audrey, did you look at the purchase orders, the reprints and stuff? And I said, no, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. And she stayed and she was like, well, Darryl's name is on some of them. And at first that wasn't like a red flag or anything to me because Darryl's name still can come out today on reprints. If they go back to do a reprint from previous to when he was printing, his name still will come out on them because he was the interim director at that time. So when she said that, it wasn't really alarming, and I was like, okay. But then she said, no, his name is on the purchase orders from yesterday. And I said, why? Instantly I said, why? And then she said, well, he printed. I said, let me see. And I got the folder and I said, did Mr. Andy give him permission to print or whatever? And she said, I don't know. She said, but I let him know that those purchase orders had came out of his name. I said, did he go let Andy know? I said, because those purchase orders can't go up to accounting like that because those bills can't be paid if Darryl's name is on them because he's not the director at this time. And Martha said, well, Audrey, the only thing I know is I told him, and he shrugged his shoulders like he don't care, and he walked out. And I was like, and I said, okay at that time. I didn't discuss anything further with Marcy. But once Marcy left, I got the purchase orders, and I went into Mr. Pennick's office. And I said, Mr. Andy, I said yesterday, did you give Darryl permission to print the purchase orders? And he said, no. I said, did anybody come to you about the purchase orders? He said, no. He said, the only thing Marcy brought in was this, and it was a stack of letters on his desk. And when I said, what are those? And I picked them up, Marcy had taken all of the vendor invoices to Andy, trying to, I guess, let him know that Darryl's name was on them and we couldn't send those vendor POs out like that. And Andy must have told her okay or whatever and left them, because when he showed them to me and I picked them up, I said, Andy, we're gonna have to reprint all of these. And he said, okay. And I got back with Marcia. Marcia gave me the stack of POs from the second, and that's when I had to take care of them. And I ran them all back through for them to come out in Mr. Pennick's name so we can keep on processing them and get them up to accounting to pay. But everything was left. It was not taken care of or resolved. When I came in that that next day, that Wednesday morning, I took care of everything with Mr. Andy, showing him the reprints and showing him what I had to do to get the purchase orders up to date and up to accounting so we can get them processed correctly.
Okay, so moving on to team huddles. Do you participate in those?
I do.
Have you all always had them, or is it something new?
Well, we used to have team meetings with Mr. White, and we used to have team meetings with Ms. Sam, but Mr. Andy, when he came, he said he wanted us to start calling them team huddles, not meeting, because he wanted to huddle up the team together to meet and talk. So that's when we started having the team huddles the week after, the Tuesday after he became director.
Okay.
He became the director on the 4th of August, and that next Tuesday, we had our first team huddle.
And so the meetings that y'all had before and the huddles that you have now, were they the same sequencing, like every single Tuesday?
Yes, ma'am.
Were they handled the same, or was it different in your opinion? As far as the way, like how it went around, how it was presented?
Yes, always, the director always sat at the head of the table. Ms. Sam, Darrell, and Mr. Andy. Darrell, as the deputy director, always sat at the head, and Nancy always sat at the head, and then I would be up there. When Ms. Sam's left, Darrell would be at the head. Me and Nancy would be up front with Darrell as the administrative service manager and the other person with the bids and stuff. But when Mr. Andy came, Darrell, he was sitting up at the front when it first started out, the first team meeting, and maybe the second, I think, but after that, he moved down to the back of the room at the end of the table by the window.
And what else did you observe about Mr. White's behavior?
Sign, like, saying things under his breath and stuff like, yeah, this is the honeymoon phase for him. He was saying different things to me. I mean, that's just my opinion. He was saying things like, yeah, this is the honeymoon phase. Or Mr. Andy was saying something about, it's different here as far as the commission. It's different here as far as, working with the directors and stuff. It was different. And he said that about the honeymoon phase, yeah, he'll see. Just making little comments like that where certain people in the room, I guess, could hear, but I overheard him making statements, little statements like that in there, or dropping his pen, or if Andy asked him a question, it was always like he was upset or something, or I didn't do it, but I'll get back to you with it, or whatever. It was just sarcasm in the room, and it put us as a step of me in an uncomfortable place because Mr. Andy was having to adhere to all of that in there and stuff. So I did witness some of those things.
And how did that type of behavior make you feel?
It was basically normal for us because, to me, we had been left in a hostile work environment under Mr. White's unprofessional leadership at that time for a while. We had been under his unprofessional leadership, and Mr. White had treated us, it had become very unhealthy for me. My blood pressure was running 200 over 190, going back and forth to the doctor because Mr. White had a very demeaning leadership toward us. And we made, I'm just being real, we made multiple complaints to HR on Mr. White. We went to HR several times, I did. And Mr. White We also had a meeting with the administrator and Miss Allen, Mr. Jackson, and Maddie Sue. We had a meeting with them, and at that meeting, we expressed how we was being treated in the procurement department by Mr. White. And at that time, they asked Mr. White not to come back into the meeting and only had a meeting with us. And when we expressed ourselves about different things, that I'm gonna just tell you a couple of them. Unprofessional leadership, repeated bad behavior toward the staff, offensive tones and statements being made to us like think, use your mind. Or things he would say to us like, that was stupid, that was a dumb decision, or stuff like that. Mr. White led by moves. Mr. White also, he would use profanity when talking about things and talking about different departments and different departments head. And it wasn't fair to us because, especially me, being the administrative services manager, I was supposed to be Mr. White's assistant. And Mr. White started because he had met with me and had said to me that I got to keep friendship out the office. That's going to be a hindrance to me. I got to keep friendship out the office. And when he said that, and I told him that's not fair, he started removing my duties and stuff away from me to other people without going through the proper procedures. So I was going to HR over and over, talking to them about the different things that was happening. And Mr. White, he basically just continued to go. Undermining me as a supervisor. I was a supervisor for the print shop. I was a supervisor for Miss Kathy that worked in the front. Mr. White would meet with them and tell them to do things or things different from what we're doing, but he wouldn't communicate with me to let me know what was going on so I would know where to go from there. He would go to the print shop, meet with them, come back, walk past my desk, wouldn't give me no follow-up. I could be working on something with him. He wouldn't give me no follow-up on what we was working on with the staff or any of that. Job intimidation, repeatedly speaking to the staff about their evaluation and their roles and stuff. He didn't feel like some of us was where we need to be. Yeah, I can stop, but I just wanted to go for a couple of, yes ma'am.
Got anything else? All right. Mr. White, do you have any questions?
Yeah,
Please make sure there are any questions.
okay, we'll put them in the form of question next to the task that we do. As it relates to the printing of the POs, you said it started out, the prior director, we know Ms. Sampson, Ms. Paul, then I inherited when I became intern, and you were the designee, and you continue to be the designee. Could the director change the designees?
I guess if you decided to, yes sir.
Could they add somebody to be a designee?
I guess if you decided to, that wasn't the
The
norm.
question is, could the director?
I'm not sure, that'll have to, that would have to be between, I guess, you and the administrator. I'm not sure.
Not sure. So when Ms. King, you explained how I became set up on the F1. You did a great job helping me get integrated, and you're right, I printed for a while. Did you know prior, or do you know prior to the second and third, had I printed anything since the finished?
You printed, I mean,
Did I
if
print
asked,
anything?
if requested, you
But
would.
did I?
I'm not sure,
You're not sure?
no,
Had anybody asked me to do
I'm not sure.
it? So on September the 3rd, I was asked.
Okay,
Okay, did you know that?
yes, I found out that, but I was gone at 2 o'clock when I wrote.
Did you find out why Mr. Bennett didn't print? Why he wasn't asked?
Yes, that he wasn't in the office when they
So
came
he went,
over.
so he went in the office and you went in the office.
Yes, but he was there till 5 o'clock.
Okay, but he went in the office at the time, and neither were you.
Correct.
So you found out, you said, who asked me to correct?
I guess Doreen or Marcy from the acquisition team.
Okay, in your fact finding, did you ask her why she asked me to correct?
No,
So you never spoke to Doreen?
no,
Okay.
no.
Marcy brought this to your attention.
The next morning, yes.
And did Marcy tell you why?
Why? Why what?
Why she brought this incident to your attention?
Yes, she did, because I explained it. She brought it to my attention because your name was on
Okay, my name was,
it.
from the time Mr. Penny took over until he was properly uploaded in Central Square and Library, whose name was on the purchase orders?
Yours.
Why? You said it should have been the director's name. He was the director.
Well, Darryl, I look at it this way. When Ms. Sams transitioned out, there was nobody and no time for it to be a grace period for them to get the purchase orders changed over into your name. So they had to hurry up and get it done because you was there and Ms. Sams was not. But when it came to Mr. Penny, you was there as the deputy director to assist the director. So I guess it took IT a little longer to change it over to his name, but you knew that process, you asked me one day, you said, Audrey, have those been taken out of my name? And I said, yeah. You said, because I don't want nothing in my
What
name.
day did you ask me that? Because I don't recall.
It was at the time when the transition was happening for Mr. Handy to get the POs put in his name. And if I said yes, it had to be the 21st or after. Because you said have those
You said it
been
had to be the 21st that
August the 21st, yes.
August 21st?
August 21st. It had to be
It
the
had to be
21st
August 21st.
or after. Because you said, have those POs been taken out my name? And I said, yeah. You said, okay, good, because I don't want nothing in my name, nothing. And you kept walking past my desk.
Okay, so if what happened the 20th, did you realize I was on vacation the 21st, so it couldn't have been there?
That's why I said the 21st or after. I didn't look because I knew that you was always on one of the team huddles. Because I put a lineup of all of our team huddles,
So
and twice you was gone. One time you was on vacation, and one time you was at a training.
Okay.
So you missed
So you
team
just
huddles.
testified that I inquired about getting my name off of the purchase orders.
You mentioned.
And for some reason, there was a delay. You don't know why with them doing it, correct?
No, I'm saying because I guess it was Jeff.
Okay,
Getting
it was
the
Jeff.
transition.
Jeff is one of the witnesses, so we did.
Correct.
So there was a delay,
Well, from the 4th when he came in
but
up
there was a
until the
delay, but
21st.
when I took over, it was immediate transition.
It was immediate.
Okay. Well, we both agree, we don't know what took so long, so we
Correct.
both agree on that.
Okay.
But I had requested that my name be on.
You asked me, did you request
Right.
it?
You said we had a conversation where I
No,
requested-
you asked me, had your name been removed? And when you asked me, was your name removed, I said yes that day. You said, because I don't want my name on nothing.
Okay.
And you walked
So
out.
when they remove your name, what happens when they remove your name? When they remove the registered name?
You know what happened. You
No,
know you're
I
not,
don't.
you're
That's why
not
I'm asking the question.
responsible, you're not responsible
I'm not responsible.
for the money. You're not responsible for the dollar to the multi-million dollars that we approve every
Okay,
day.
so it would be no benefit to me for my name to remain. Is that correct?
A benefit for it to remain on there?
Benefit to me for my name to remain.
No,
If
you-
anything, it'll make me liable.
Correct, and that's why you wanted to make sure your name was off, I
Right.
guess, because you mentioned it
So-
to me.
When they make the changeover,
Mhm.
they have to do what?
Jeff have to go in there and pay and get that L form reset, and the new signature had to be done by Mr. Andy, because he had to write his name several times and send over to, and same thing you had to do.
Same thing you witnessed me do.
Correct.
So, once the change is made, was a change, you have the ability to print, right, because you were
Correct.
designated?
And I had got,
Was it was a change made to yours?
yes, the L
Okay.
form was made to me.
Was made?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, so that when I
Since-
print,
Okay,
Andy's name come out on it, but if you printed, your name came out on it because
okay,
you
why
didn't
not
have,
make the change on mine since I was still a designated?
because you didn't have access any longer. Mr. White, as a deputy director, you never had access to print the purchase orders. And you had went back to your director's role as the deputy director. You went back to your deputy director's role, so you're back in your role, you're not printing purchase orders anymore. That role turned over to the new director and to the designee.
Okay, at the beginning of the testimony, you said I had printed purchase order as the interim director.
Correct.
So,
But
which
you-
means I had the capability to do it.
Yes, you did, but you didn't have permission after Mr. Andy came because the ELK form had been changed, just like it was changed when you took over from Ms. Sam.
Okay, you said I didn't have permission, whose permission?
I guess the city's, because you're not the procurement director any longer. Because that role belongs to the director of the
Okay,
procurement department.
is it a policy in place that states that? That you
I'm not
know
sure.
of?
No, I'm just going off of me being trained from coming into my role and knowing that as a deputy director, you never printed and didn't have the capability of printing
We're
as a
not-
deputy
I'm
director.
not asking about when I was there, I'm asking, did your F form was outdated?
Correct.
I was still given the authority to do it. You said what, but Mr. Pennick has stated in this hearing that I maintain all responsibility, capabilities I had prior to him coming here. So that would include me having the ability to print on the F one. Not that I wanted to, but I had that ability to do it.
Okay.
Okay. Also, was not the acquisition team one of my direct reports?
Yes. They was under your supervision.
They were under my supervision.
Correct.
So it would make logical sense if you were not available, and you did most of the printing, and Mr. Penny, that they would ask me since they know I had the capability.
Correct.
So again, why was not my F form updated since I had the capability to do it?
That would probably have to be a IT question, because as far as I'm concerned, it's because you went back to your role as the deputy director and you didn't have that access as the deputy director.
Okay, I didn't have the access, okay. But clearly I had access because the action happened.
Correct.
Okay,
You
so-
still had the ability to print,
Okay,
but you
but-
didn't have the approval to approve and print purchase orders, because that's the director's role.
Even though I had the access, and that's the director's role.
They probably, I'm not sure.
So,
She's answered-
again,
She's answered that.
okay,
Yeah.
so and let's make this plain. So from August the 4th until whenever they got it correct, my name was on there,
Your name was on the purchase
even
order.
though I wasn't the director.
Correct. Correct. Your name was still there because the F form had not been changed. Like Ms. Sam's name, when you took over,
Okay,
you knew that purchase orders was coming out of her name.
So my name was on there.
Yes, they
Because Mr. Penny stated earlier, he didn't know whose name was on it.
Correct, because he was in training. He had just gotten here.
So he had
He
never
was
seen a
still
purchase
learning.
order?
He probably had seen them, but he probably don't.
He didn't know my name on there?
Objection,
He knew your
you're saying
name.
she wouldn't know.
She wouldn't know.
Yeah.
She wouldn't know that, okay. But you're testifying to this hearing that my name was on there.
Your name was on there until the 20th. I think the
Until the
last
20th.
one came out and your name was on 8/20/25.
So you don't recall when you told me my name was always gonna be off?
No, because Mr. White, you used to do that a lot. You would come by, you would say things, like you would do to Kathy in front of me, derogatory, and you'll keep walking.
Well, if I had the capabilities to do these actions, don't you think I needed to know when my name was moved?
Yes,
Because
you asked, but you
But
did
you-
ask, and I said yes. You did ask me one day passing the desk, you said, because you didn't want your name on nothing, same as witness Sam. That's why they had to go into action to get her name off of it, because she was not there or the director anymore, and those purchase orders cannot go up to accounting for checks to be cut with that director's name. Her name is still on it, so they had to get yours on there, and I guess they had to move quicker.
Okay, but you don't know what the delay, okay.
I don't know.
All right,
No.
all right, we'll move away from that. On the team huddles, you stated the team huddles, you stated that I used to have them as well. And we had those meetings, and you stated on a couple of meetings, at least two, if I'm not mistaken, that I sat close to the front,
You always did.
always did.
Mhm.
Even, okay. So, so you would say there were times I was close and not at the end of the table?
Mr. White, you never really said at the end of the table.
I never said it.
Is there anything other than where you were sitting? I'm trying to, I want to move the hearing along. Is there anything
Yeah,
other than
okay.
where you were sitting?
Well, it's alleged in your documentation, I always sat at the end of the table. The witness just stated, I didn't always sit at the end of the table. I'm just stabbing the point.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
that's not true.
Right.
Okay, and so there were times I said at the end of the table, I will provide commentary in the meeting. You said sometime it was negative. Is that correct?
As the interim director, as back in your
Back
way.
in the day.
Okay, once Mr. Andy came. Yes, okay.
Okay. But there were times I was close to him and offered things and conversations and things like that.
I mean, if he asked you a question, but you
Right.
didn't volunteer anything.
Wouldn't that be typical of the meetings we have? I mean, I would only interject when asked, did I not do that with the previous director?
If asked questions,
Okay, so if you didn't say anything out of the ordinary with that?
no, because I.
Okay, thank you, that's the
Okay.
question.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you, Sutton, I appreciate it.
All right.
You got anything? Anybody got anything real quick? All right, we're gonna move on.
These should be hopefully shorter. That should be shorter.
Okay. Let's, yeah.
Doreen Holmes. Ms. Holmes, if you can raise your right hand. Promise the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Please state your full name for the record.
Doreen Lynette Holmes.
Yes, Ms. Holmes, can you speak up? This is a big room, and
Okay.
I've got a mic over there.
Okay, Doreen Lynette Holmes,
Thank you.
Where are you currently employed?
the City of Augusta Procurement Department,
How long have you been employed?
29 years,
And what is your title?
purchasing agent,
And what do your job duties include?
day-to-day operations, getting purchase orders out, written bids, just whatever comes up as far as the day-to-day operations with the departments is what I actually am.
Okay, and as far as your office location, oh, well, are you familiar with Mr. White?
Yes,
How do you know Mr. White?
through the department. Okay.
I just want to make sure they can hear you, because
Yeah,
you're really
well,
close.
yeah.
He's going low.
Okay, Daryl was the interim director once Ms. Sams left. So, I mean, I didn't work directly with him prior to that.
Because you've been there 29 years.
Yes,
So in procurement, at the time, your office is located on the same floor, but not in the same suite. Is that
yes,
correct?
yes.
Do you remember an incident involving a health purchase form on September 2nd?
Yes, I mean, I don't know what the date was, but I remember an incident with the form.
Can you tell me what happened from your point of view?
Well, my team, which is Marcy and Jacqueline, Marcy discovered that Daryl's name was on.
Go backwards. I need you to go further back, from the very beginning. On September 2nd, there was an issue. What happened with that issue?
Well, Marcy, no, from the second, the power went out, and so we needed the form reloaded. So I went over to the main procurement department. I didn't see Audrey. I didn't see Andy in the office, so I went to Daryl and said we need the form loaded on the computer so we can get purchase orders printed. Because once our power goes out, the form is not on the actual print.
Okay, and when you asked Mr. White, or told Mr. White what the issue was, did he ask you any questions?
No, I don't recall any questions. I just said I need the form loaded, the L form loaded. I knew he had access to it, and so I just asked him to load the form.
And after you did that, did you have any other interactions with him regarding this?
No.
Now, I'm just gonna ask you about the team huddles on Tuesday. Are you in those team huddles?
Yes.
Have they always happened the same way on Tuesdays, even before Mr. Penny was there?
No, they didn't always happen the same way. I mean, Miss Sams would call a meeting, and it could be any day. It wasn't necessarily a team huddle, it was just a staff meeting. But other than that, Daryl appeared to be the same. Kind of standoffish, or really never gave any input as far as what was going on in the meeting.
And how was Mr. White with you professionally in office?
I didn't have a whole lot of interaction with Mr. White until he became the interim director, and at that point, you know, he needed to kind of know how the acquisition team kind of ran its process. But I didn't have a whole lot of interaction with him. I've been there 29 years, so I basically ran the acquisition team. And so I really never, unless he came to me with a question, I really never needed to go to him and say, this is this, this is that. So, I mean, other than that, I was good as long as I could get the work done. And
Did you, are you now, have you moved locations since?
yes,
So all of the department is together?
yes, in the main procurement.
Okay. And then how is the atmosphere now in the office?
It's a lot different. It's friendly oriented. It's different.
No further questions?
Mr. White, you have any questions?
On the date in question, let's see, you came to me to print, is that correct?
Yes. No. Well, no. I came to you to put the form on
To put
the form
What
on
form?
the machine
Okay.
on the computer.
So the appeals committee, so your testimony here, you didn't ask me to print.
No, I asked you to put the form, load the form on,
Ask me to go.
yes.
Okay. Did you know by me loading the form, it would load my name back on it?
I had no idea. I didn't know. I just know I needed the form to be loaded in order for purchase orders to print. Because they have to print in a form, and the form has to be loaded. So I
So
had no
you
idea.
know.
No.
29 years, you said you didn't know. I mean, it's not, but you didn't know it would put my,
No, I did not.
I agree. I didn't know either, but anyway. But you came because you know I had the capabilities to.
Right,
do it.
everybody don't have capabilities of the L form, so it's on specific computers. I knew you had it, or the other two people were available, so.
Okay. Did you know Mr. Penny's name had started being written on the bills?
Yeah, I knew his name was on the bill. Yes.
Did you know they had started printing on the time that you asked me to send the form?
I can't say that I mean, once I asked you to set the form, that's all I was interested in, was the form itself. I didn't know I just assumed that you had the right form. I had no idea you did.
So, your team didn't know whether everybody had the right form or not?
That really had nothing to do with us as far as, we see the purchase orders once it is printed. And once it's printed is when we notice whatever's going on with it.
Would you agree, I never see the form, the POs, unless they're shown to me? And that was true as my role as intern?
I mean, we don't walk over there and actually show you in particular, but I mean.
Yeah, my point is, we knew the procedure, whether it's me doing it or Mr. Penny or Audrey, it was done in another suite that y'all were located in.
Yeah, we
So
were
we wouldn't
located in.
We wouldn't necessarily know there was an issue with a form unless we are told, correct?
Well, I mean, as far as the name, of course, I didn't know, but I went to you because I needed the form loaded.
Right.
So that's the
Right.
issue.
I know you didn't come to me by name, but you came to me because you know I had the ability to do it.
Right.
But my question was, if there is a problem with a name or something, the person who would request wouldn't know unless they're told, correct?
Well, I talked to Marcy and she did tell you. So she did go to you and say,
So she said.
well, that's what she said.
That's what she said, but you don't know if she really did. She just told you she did.
Yeah.
Okay. Has the form always been like that in your 29 years? We understand it started with.
The form always had to be loaded. If
Always
there's
had to.
power outage or if there's some situation,
So it
the
had to
form
be
has to
loaded
be
by
loaded.
or a director or a designee.
It has to be loaded by somebody who has access on their computer. So
Okay.
the form is.
And I had that access at the time. Okay, as it relates to, okay. Ms. Holmes, you said I hadn't much interaction with you, right? You were in charge of acquisition, but who was your immediate supervisor
Jerry saying.
when she was there?
Mhm.
Okay, and it became, who was it when she left?
I'm assuming you.
As the interim director?
You was over the whole department.
Okay, so when I went back to deputy, who was your director?
I'm assuming you. Nobody, it was never stated, but
So you said Mr. Penny never told you I was your direct supervisor?
no, we never had that discussion.
Okay. Have you seen an organization chart for the department? Do you ever recall seeing one?
Yeah, I've seen several different org
Okay.
charts.
So the ones that you've seen, when I was interim director, or when who did it show your direct report?
Not sure, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Because I don't remember how the chart looked. I've seen several different charts.
Okay, when it comes to team photos, you said, I will participate, and my demeanor was basically the same when Ms. Sams was.
Right.
Right. So, in your opinion, the way I acted in a meeting is the way I acted with Ms. Sams on,
It wasn't a positive action. So, yeah, you acted the same. You never, ever had any input, or you had loud sighs, or just grunts, or groans, or loud breathing, that kind of thing. That went with either me, Ms. Sams, or Mr. Pennett's meeting. So, it was never to introduce anything positive. It was never to maybe cut down some confusion in Ms. Sam's meeting. You never spoke up, and I discussed that with you prior to Andy coming in. Once you became director, I did talk to you in reference to that. I did make you aware that that's how I felt.
right. And so you agree we had discussions about my actions in the meeting. Did I offer you an explanation as to why?
You said something that didn't make sense to me, but
But I offered you an explanation why I interjected meetings, or why I didn't do certain things in meetings.
you did say something. It just didn't make sense to me.
Okay, it didn't make sense to you, but I did offer some explanation as to why.
Objection,
I'm trying to figure out, yes, we gotta move on. I'm trying to understand where you're going with what I already have, so, yeah.
Well, basically, my demeanor in meetings were pretty much the same. I didn't
Okay,
change.
that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with
Right.
listening.
Anything further for,
No, that's it. Thank you.
all right?
It's only two more. Pick one and two more.
All right.
Ms. Marks, you want?
How many more after this? How many more with?
Just one more.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, anyway.
All right. You can raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be true? I said it so much, I'm sorry. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Please speak up so we can all hear.
Okay.
We've got a camera recording. Thank you so much.
All right, please state your full name for the record.
Marcy Williams,
And where are you currently employed?
City of Augusta Procurement Department,
And how long have you been employed?
November 21, 2021,
And what is your title?
procurement technician.
And what are your job duties?
Mainly process purchase orders, daily, anything dealing with purchase orders, generate, process, distribute.
Okay, and are you familiar with Mr. White?
Yes.
How are you familiar with him?
He was our deputy director on my hire date and interim after Ms. Sam's exit.
Okay. Do you remember an incident involving the ELF purchase order forms from September 2nd?
Yes.
Can you tell me what happened from your point of view?
That morning, the power was disconnected due to microwave. Everything's linked on that wall. It was connected, the power went out, which caused the printer to go off. After the printer goes off, everything has to be reset in order for POs to print.
Okay, and so what happened after that?
I remember Doreen notifying Mr. White that the printer went off and everything had to be reset in order for us to print POs. Once the POs printed, after going through it, we noticed that the signature line had changed
Okay, this was on September
on
2nd.
September 2nd.
When you noticed, what did you do?
I notified Doreen, and then also went over and notified Mr. White.
Okay, when you notified Mr. White, what did he say?
He was getting ready to exit out of the office, and he told me that he would, take care
Take care of what?
of getting, I guess, the name corrected.
So you notified him, what exactly did you notify him of? That his name was on it or that?
That his name was printed on the POs.
And did he, when he said he was wanting to get it corrected, what did that mean to you?
That he would go in, I guess, reset the F form,
Reset it to say what?
just put Mr. Pennett's name back on there.
Did he ask you any questions?
No.
What happened the next day when you got back?
The next day, I went to Audrey before the PO was printed to make sure that that change had been made, because if not, his name would still continue to print. And there was, we had over 100 POs that day. And it was just time consuming if his name had printed and it had not been corrected.
Okay, so how many ended up being printed with the wrong name?
There were quite a few. There were over 200.
Now I'm gonna switch over to team huddles on Tuesday. Are you involved in those team huddles?
Yes.
And how have they changed since interim director White and then it became Mr. Pennick? How did they change?
Meetings change, the climate has changed, the team morale has changed. Everybody seems motivated, willing to learn, willing to do whatever they can to make the atmosphere better and the work itself better.
So, when Mr. Pennick took over, was it Tuesdays, what behavior did you observe from Mr. White in the team huddles?
Seemed just not interested in the changes, not interested in being a team player. Just not interested.
What did you physically see though in the meeting?
Based on the body language, just did not want to be there.
And what body language is that?
The no eye contact, the body language, as far as direct contact, eye contact, and seeming to wanting to participate.
Okay, and how was your working relationship with Mr. White?
No problems.
I have no more questions.
Mr. White, real quick.
Okay, quickly, Ms. Reeves. You said Doreen asked me to print because the F form was up.
Yes.
So, I reset it. And we printed. And you say you both you and Ms. Holmes noticed my name's back on it.
Yes.
When did the change take place that my name was taken off?
Maybe 2 to 5 days upon Mr. Pennick taking the director's position.
It was when?
Maybe 2 to 5 days after Andy took the position as director. That's when the change occurred.
Because Mr. Pennick and his administrator said it occurred to the 20th or the 21st of August. You saying it?
Let me go back. Yes, his name appeared on the POs about August 20th or the 21st.
So whose name was on it before then?
Your name was on the POs prior to his name.
So from the time he took over until the change, it was my name.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Your name was on there prior to his name being on the POs.
Because Mr. prior to you coming in, Mr. Penny, stated he didn't know whose name was on it.
Objection.
That's the same.
So it was my name.
Your name was on the POs prior to Mr. Pennick's name.
So when Ms. Holmes requested me to print, why did she request me? to print?
Objection, hearsay.
Yeah.
Well, she did ask me to print.
But she's asking, she heard that.
She heard that?
You've already got.
Repeat your question.
My question was, why did Ms. Holmes ask me to print?
She asked if you would put the L form back on
Right.
due to power failure.
Right. For the F forms. For the print. Okay. And you both noticed my name, I guess, the change that it was back on.
Yes.
Did you and Ms. Holmes know by me resetting it, it will put my name back on?
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
I did not know
Okay,
that.
all right. Because your testimony, you wouldn't have asked me to do it.
Objection relevant.
I'm trying to follow where you're going.
They asked me to reset it
Correct.
because I had the ability to do it.
Correct.
Their testimony is they didn't know it would change from Mr. Penny Batman, which I didn't know.
So, okay.
So the point is, they were doing something they thought was correct. The same thing I was doing. If not, they would have asked me to do it if I didn't have the ability, correct?
Well, I didn't know because I don't get involved in that piece. My piece is processing POs as far as going in the settings of the software itself. I do not know
Okay.
because
All right.
I do not
That-
access
You're right,
that.
that's the more
That's-
IT question.
that's-
But,
She can only answer what she knows.
right. Your witness statement said, you notice my name was on there, and you told me at the end of the day when we exited the office.
No, I came over between
I'll just
maybe,
read you what
I
it
came
said.
over at between 1 and 2, and you were getting ready to exit the office. You were putting your coat on, and I came in your office, stood directly eye contact, and showed you POs and informed you that your name appeared on the POs.
Okay. Well, I'm just reading your witness statement. I noticed at the end of the day that Darrell's name appeared on the approved for issue and verbally mentioned to him what I discovered. You said, I stated, oh well, and he and I exited the office. That means we were leaving for the day.
No, it was not at the end of the day. It was, we still had,
Just what you put in your
well,
witness
we
statement.
still had hours on the clock, and it was not at the end of the work day. It was close to the end, but not at the end of the work day, but you were exiting. I'm assuming you were going to lunch, and you returned.
Okay. Okay, I was just reading for the witness
Okay,
statement.
that's fine.
Okay. That my name was still, why were you telling me my name was still on
Because I do remember Doreen informing you to reload the L form, and I knew you went in and were supposed to change the form, and I wanted to notify Audrey on September 3rd not to print until it gets changed, because that's more work for me to do. And we didn't want to have that.
it? But the change had been made.
No, because on September 3rd, your name still appeared on the POs.
Okay. We'll move on from that. As to meetings, you said I'm very rarely energetic, never brought anything to the meetings. And that was at every meeting?
And once Mr. Pennick meeting started. That's when I noticed, because you normally sat at the head where I couldn't see you, but his meetings, you sat across from me at the end of the conference room table. So prior to, I could not see previous meetings.
See where I was sitting?
Yes.
All right. Thanks so much. Thank you, I appreciate it. One more?
Just one more. And that's all. Thank you, everybody. Right. You can raise your right arm. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your full name for the record.
Jeffrey Carter Lewis,
And where are you currently employed?
Information Technology Department.
How long have you been employed?
Going on 18 years.
Okay, and what is your title?
Currently is Deputy CIO.
And what do your job duties include?
Job duties include managing the the BAS group, Business Administration Group, consists of about 18 to 19 people. We handle all software, and we support solutions for all departments in the city. Any of their IT needs, they come to us.
Are you familiar with Mr. White?
Yes.
How do you know Mr. White?
I've known him for probably as long as I've worked here. I'm not sure how many years he's been here, but he's, as far as I've known, he's always been in the procurement department.
There was an incident back on September 2nd, 2025, with the ELF purchase order forms. Are you the person that would be called if something is wrong with the ELF purchase forms?
Typically, yes.
Were you contacted by anyone in procurement department that anything was incorrect on September 2nd?
I was not contacted specifically about that. I have an email that was from Miss Audrey Sutton on that date that she simply said, this was September 2nd, 12:12 p.m. She said, can you please give us a call as soon as possible? At 12:14, I responded, Audrey, Richard or Adrian will give you a call shortly. Those are two people that are on my team.
Did you get a call from Mr. White
No,
about no contact from Mr. White
no,
to correct the form?
no.
Ms. White?
Jeff, good to see you. You said on September the 2nd, you received an email, a call or something wrong with the form?
No, sir.
You didn't?
No, sir.
Okay.
Would you like me to read it again?
You said, okay, what's the date you gave that?
September 2nd at 12:12 p.m. from Audrey Sutton. Jeff, can you please give us a call as soon as possible? Thank you.
So you weren't informed of what the request was?
No,
As of this date, have you been informed of what the request was?
I've heard things about
But-
this issue, but no,
Okay.
not specifically.
So, IT does the L form, right? And that happens when there's a problem with the printer, it gets offline or power circuit, you have to reset it, right?
Not IT.
Not IT, but it has to be reset by somebody in procurement, that's correct.
Yes.
Per policy or procedure, who has the ability to reset that L form?
That's a procurement policy that is not an IT policy.
So it's not IT policy.
No, sir.
So, and it was established with the previous director going back to Ms. Sanders.
I don't know that.
So, but far as you know, there is no IT procedure and policy when it comes to that L4?
No, sir, not with you, not with loading them to the printer.
Not notice of print, or who has access to it?
That's correct.
So it could be a director, it could be several designees. It's up to the director to decide who has access. That's not IT thing.
That's correct.
It is no written policy. Okay. When I became IT director, you remember that, right?
Yes.
No, I said IT
I'm not,
director.
yes.
Yeah,
Interim,
I'm not trying to take Rick's job.
interim procurement.
I'm not trying to take Rick's job, he do an excellent job. When I became an intern, director of procurement, did you not set up the F form for them?
We did, yes.
It was you and Mr. Horn. Here, please sign a couple of things, since we need to get you the F form uploaded to, as well as the forms.
I'm sorry, you're going to be a little more clear about your question.
Was it you, was it IT that set me up to have the ability to print and reset the F form?
So IT was told that a different director was in place
Right.
and that the PO, the signature and the name on the form would have to be updated.
Have to be updated, okay.
Yes, sir. And we have to reach
So
out.
you were
to-
told, so I didn't initiate it, it was something you were told, right?
Yes.
Was it correct, it happened like the next day, if I'm not mistaken, that I took over?
I don't have the time. I don't have
But
the time.
it was fairly quickly.
We were notified that you were interim director
Okay.
and that that was going to be the next thing that we had to worry about was getting that form updated.
Okay, so once we did, and you guys did, what instructions did you give me?
I don't remember exactly what instructions. We have to reach out to our vendor. We can't change the forms ourselves.
Okay.
It's Central Square's vendor has to do it. We had to get a quote to get it done. It did take, I don't remember how long, but it was at least a week or so.
For me?
I don't know. I just remember, we've done it twice with you and Mr. Penny. Each time we had to reach out and get a quote, get it done.
Okay, so when it moved from me to Mr. Penny, I'm assuming you guys did the same procedure you did with me.
Yes.
How long did it take?
I don't know. I don't recall. At least, to get from when we got the word to when you were able to print with the new one?
With Mr. Penny? Because my recollection for me, when I took it was relatively.
Objection,
Yeah,
testimony.
yeah, I'm trying to,
Okay,
I'm trying to establish where we're going.
okay. When you established the L form for me, did you give me any procedural information?
I believe we went over it together so that you knew you had to do it.
How to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, when I was no longer director and you got word Mr. Penny was the new director, did you do the same thing with him?
At that time, I think Audrey was able to do it, and I don't remember specifically giving Mr. Pennick instructions.
So the instruction would be given to Audrey
I believe so. I mean, Audrey knew how to do it.
and not Mr. Penny?
Well, Mr. Pennick was not familiar with that coming in because it's, not software he's used before. But I don't remember specifically giving Mr. Pennick an
Well,
instructional course on it.
I wasn't either, but that's besides the point. So you didn't give any instructions to Mr. Penny?
I don't remember, honestly,
Okay.
I don't remember.
All right. Did Mr. Penny, once he did he call you and give you any instruction as it relates to any of his designees?
I don't think so.
So he never told you or requested IT remove it, or remove my ability to do it?
No.
No. Is that customary among directors?
Again, IT supports the software and we give it to people who the director says should have it.
So that was the director's decision whether to remove remove someone, add someone.
It would not have been IT's decision.
Is there a limited number of people that they can designate the director? Does the software, I mean, will it accommodate various users, or is there a set number?
There's no set number.
There's no set number. So the director could have added whoever he chose.
If he had called IT and asked for
Right.
support, yes.
So when it was set up under Ms. Sam's, it was, I'm assuming she chose just herself and a designee.
I'm trying to follow where we're going.
I don't know, that's a procurement decision.
Well, I'm trying to make, there's no established policy or procedure, but I'm accused of breaking policy and procedure. There's none. There's none. Okay, so, all right. So we established, you didn't give him the direction. He didn't ask her. So, when the incident happened on the 2nd, it's an email that I have with, on the 17th, Mr. Pennick reached out to you to see if I put in a ticket to have an L form updated. Okay. When you guys set up Mr. Pennick, it doesn't automatically update everybody's software?
So the software has files for each person's signature. So when you run the software, you select the one that says _Pennick or the one that says _White.
Okay. So when you select the ones that _Pennick, shouldn't it have updated my software as well on my computer?
I don't know how you were running it specifically, but we have all past directors' forms in that drive,
In that drive?
and they're labeled by name.
Okay, so how does the computer make a determination who signature line, who signature they put on there?
Because you have to run the program, and then it asks you to select a form. You have to select one with the name that you want to load to the printer.
So my point is, if you have selected Mr. Pennick, shouldn't, if I'm setting the F form, should that drive remain the same? It shouldn't revert back to me?
That's right.
It
As
should?
long as you're selecting the files that you're supposed to select.
Okay, you just explained it was an IT function where y'all change it from my signature to his. And you said depending on how I selected, if it's software that's it's all been updated, shouldn't it have updated mine?
This is a very simple program, Mr. White. It's an exe that runs, and then you have to select the files that have either PO Pennick or PO White. We also have the same forms for finance.
I understand that, but I was resetting a printer and it picked up my signature line. I didn't select anything, so I'm saying, but how could it pick up my, when I didn't do anything but reprogram the printer?
I don't know what you did that day when you ran the program. I'd have to see which file you selected.
The only file that was on my computer,
Okay.
but it put my signature line on it. And that's the problem. I'm being accused of knowingly falsifying records. When the only thing I did was on my computer. So when y'all,
Objection,
okay,
testimony.
when I've been 17 years, I've been at the city. You guys do updates all the time, right?
Updates on what?
Computer. What? Not just
I'm trying to
Across
follow
the
where you're
board.
going.
across the board. You guys will do updates.
To be more specific, I mean.
Mr. White, do you have do we have a question to where we get to?
The question
where we
is,
are?
we have software that was updated. Why did it update mine?
I don't know. I mean, the files are listed there by name. They're on that drive.
I don't see those files.
He's answered the question.
I don't see those files.
I understand you asked, he's answered to the best of,
Okay.
to the best of the union.
So, okay, we don't have an answer why or selection of files, update files. We don't have an answer for that.
He's asked and answered. You've asked and he's answered.
So, when Mr. Pennick reached out to see if I put a ticket in to have my file updated, why would I have my file updated if I didn't know it needed to be updated?
Objection.
No.
Doesn't have anything.
Sustain
I understand what you're saying, Mr. Barber, but again, I'm being accused of doing something that I had no knowledge I was doing.
for the hearing for right now, I just need for you to, within the confines of the hearing, to ask relevant questions as it pertains to this matter. And
The relevant matter, if IT added another person and updated the signature line, shouldn't that update have occurred on my computer as well as it did?
And I'm gonna sustain the objection because that's not what we're here to determine.
Okay.
Yeah, please understand that. We're not here to determine how this occurred.
Okay.
We're trying to ascertain everything we can so we can make a determination whether to uphold or to overturn.
And I respect your opinion, but I'm accused of knowingly doing something that I had no knowledge of. When you knowingly do something, you have knowledge. I didn't have knowledge.
Understood.
And neither did
Understood.
IT.
Understood. Okay. So now we need to move on. All right.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bad you, just trying to get to the bottom of the situation.
Okay. We have any more witnesses from the, all right. Mr. White, I've got a couple of witnesses here for you. Are you ready to present? Or do you need these people, or are we ready to, or do we want to move to a close?
With the, I would like to speak to Sharon Daughter if she's out there. Sharon Daughter and Tim Sorrell.
You would like to speak to both of them? Okay, all right. You can go ahead and call Ms. Daughter. Thank you, Mr. Lewis, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I need to write, I want to keep this specific to, as your witness, you need to be presenting specifically to the.
I understand, Mr. Barber, but I think you also allowed testimony that had nothing to do with the matter at hand or people's personal feelings.
Well, that's not totally accurate, so, and that's
Okay.
something, that's something we can discuss, but that's not totally accurate based on the reasons why, in the termination letter, there were three items.
Right, I thought that's what
Okay.
we centered on.
Correct.
My actions,
We did.
my actions as an intern director has no bearing on what we're.
But that's not what we're discussing.
Neither of those witnesses that he requested is here.
They're not here. Okay, all right. Well, real quick, do we have any questions from the board real quick regarding to the city or Mr. White regarding any of these matters?
I just got
Yes, sir.
a question
Yes, sir.
for Mr. Pennick. Your Tuesday meetings, were they like mandatory, structured, and then, after an email was sent out to everybody, or were they just like a powwow, let's get together and just, this what's going on, this what happened, you got any complaints? How would they?
Yes, I understand the question. It was through Outlook. I invited all the team members through Outlook. They would click acceptance, and so it was typically always the same day. During the budget hearings, it had to be one day moved. But so it was through Outlook calendar.
Anybody else? Mr. Ross?
Yeah, Mr. Pennick, what was your process when you got ready to dismiss Mr. White from his job, what procedure you would do? Did you give him a verbal warning? Did you give him a letter? And then you terminate his job?
There were verbal, one specifically, August 23rd, 2025. So one of the witnesses had filed a grievance with Mr. White, and we met with HR in my office. After the grievance, I addressed Mr. White as to what he was going to do with the grievance. His comment was, let's just move past this. It's a waste of time, and I'm sorry, he said it was bullshit. After that, I asked what actions he thinks he should take. He said he didn't know. Additionally, I reprimanded him verbally on his disrespectful attitude and actions during team host, to which he gave no response. I mentioned that his tone needed to change toward Miss Audrey. He said with glaring eyes, I just speak direct. So I spoke direct to him to show him how he comes across. I said, you need to change your tone towards Miss Audrey and the other females, staff members. And he said, oh, like you're doing now? And I said, I was trying to get him to see how his tone and volume comes across. Mr. White showed.
I want to know by the manual, what is the procedure for you to dismiss him? What procedure you have to go through before you finally dismiss him from his job?
If I can answer that, is that okay?
Is it in the manual?
For EV2, the first one, that one can be terminated. There is no procedure, you don't have to.
EV2, what is it?
That's, I'm sorry, the falsification or misrepresentation of official documents or records, that one, you can get terminated on your first offense. There is no buildup. You don't have to be verbally reprimanded, you don't have to have a written reprimand, you can be terminated. And if HR can correct me, I believe the other two are written reprimand you can do on the first time. Right, so out of all three of these, with all three of these offenses, because the first one was termination, and because of the egregious activity that was in the office, that he ended up with termination.
Anybody else? All right. I've been doing this for a long time, Ms. White, and I ask everybody who sits in your spot, and it's just a straight up question. Because this goes back to the city government and who represents taxpayers. For us to overturn this hearing and this hearing today, which you're here wanting us to do that. So my question is do you want to continue to work for Augusta Richmond County?
Yes. If I was here, I wouldn't be here. Yes, I want to continue. I have 17 years with the city. In your package, not one disciplinary hearing. You had someone say she filed a grievance, no findings. Mr. Penny has alluded to another grievance, same thing, no findings. Everybody's management style is different. And you've heard a lot about mine when I was manager, which should have had no bearing on the hearing because I'm not accused of anything when I was the interim director. Holding people accountable, they don't like it. Most people don't like it. And that's what I did. And you have to realize, I took over the department in a trying time. We were in a hurricane, it was a lot going on. It was a lot asking me. I mean, I worked 24/7. So everybody's morale was low and being tested because we was asked to do so much we had to get this city back moving, up and running, and procurement was vital to that. The things we needed to get done. I navigated that. Not one time was the city put in a bad position. Not one rule was compromised or broken. And in 22 days, I'm a terror to the city. I take offense to that. That's an attack on my character and my integrity, which has never been questioned. Have grievances because somebody didn't like me or the way I said it or something I said. They filed a grievance, it was investigated, no findings. So in 22 days, that Mr. Peanut was able to supervise me, everything. I'm not worthy of being an employee, not worthy of a reprimand or a talk. All of the huddles, he said, I did this, and you've had witnesses to say that was not true. I didn't do that in every single huddle. And that was my demeanor prior. Not one question to ask what was wrong. I noticed, never. Now, he just alluded to, he had a sit down with me August the 23rd. He couldn't have, that's a Saturday, if you look at your calendars. So he got his days off. Mr. Peanut has never had a sit down and talk to me about anything. Have we had some conversation? Yes. But it was always general in nature. It was always general in nature. Not one time did he come to me with an issue. 17 years, you take it out like the trash. Not one meeting. Everything verbal. You heard witnesses say, but when you're looking at what's printed on these pages, the books you have, he said he instructed me. Not one time has he instructed me to do anything he said. He did. It was either through somebody else or it was implied. He did. Never backed it up with an email. Nothing. Nothing written down. Take it all out into account. Nothing written down. Nothing to corroborate what he told me. Hey, what about this? The resume. He said everybody came to him. He said he was going to have a meeting with everybody and a resume. Never scheduled one for me. Never scheduled. Never scheduled. What was the big deal about giving him an email? Giving him, a resume? None. He never scheduled one for me. So you mean to tell me all those people just walked in the office and he had an impromptu meeting with them? No. They had to be scheduled. I'm sure there was some schedule. But he never scheduled one with me. He never had the intent to schedule one. Never had the intent.
When did you find out that Mr. Pennick was hired?
When did I find out?
Yes.
As directors, we had to go to meetings when it was done on the commission's floor.
And did you, in your own personal capacity, in a strictly professional sense, reach out prior to Mr. Pennick walking into this building to reach out to him to tell him whatever you need to tell him prior to coming here?
No, I didn't reach out. I didn't have any way of reaching out, but I did have a conversation with the administrator when it was done, and they said, listen, I would do everything possible to assist him.
And when did you meet with Mr. Pennick for the very first time?
Probably a day or two after we had a conversation, a day or two after he had been there. Because of the first couple of days, everybody needed a pass to get in his office goes. And I know what they were doing. They were doing the same thing they did with me, getting me up to speed. Miss Sutton, administrator, making sure I was doing the thing. So I was giving him time to, you know, get set up and go through the same process I went through. Go through the same process I went through. Also, if you're looking in your books, as it relates to the credit cards, he said he instructed me to turn the credit card authorization over to him. I could not do that. Now, in the course of the meeting, if you recall, Ms. Sutton said I couldn't. It's a process to do that. But he said he instructed me to do it. How can I instruct you? How can I do something for you I didn't have the capabilities of doing? That was a process. He had to get the form from the credit card company, which was Elon. It had to be signed off by finance. That's why I wanted Mr. Stray here, that he was the interim finance director, saying it was okay to make me the credit card administrator and appoint a designee. So what you've seen in your books and you heard is some falsification. I'm not going to say lies, but some stretching of the truth. He never instructed, he never asked me, because I was told him the procedure. I was told him the procedure. But that's not what is in y'all's manual. I told him, how can I do it when I didn't have the capability to do it? So a lot of that is what you heard. I told him, no, he didn't. He said, he told me to raise the credit card. He didn't. His witness said, take care of it. Or she wasn't even sure what the instruction was. So, but yet and still, I'm being accused of not following authority, or what? He never specifically told me. Never told me. Never backed up with email. When I went in his office after the fact, she don't know what we're talking about. Never said, I wanted you to raise the credit limit. Never said it. Never said it. But somebody sent an email saying that was going to happen. I don't know how it was going to happen. He must have reached out to Miss Sutton to have her do it. But if that's what he wanted, he should have said something. I could have done it. Never did.
All right, and in fairness, after you've heard everything we've heard, in true honest fairness, if you are reinstated as the assistant director in procurement, how effective can you be, and what is your plan to make sure that the stuff that was said here today can be positive going forward, to where this is a cohesive unit and a team?
Well, if I'm truly allowed to be a part of the team, I think that can happen. I've never been given the opportunity. Never been given the opportunity. Never been given the opportunity to do that.
But you ran the department for 10 months.
I ran the department for 10 months.
Yes, sir.
That's correct. But I'm not being accused of what I did.
Sir, that's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. What I asked was, you ran the department for 10 months.
Right.
You had the ability.
Well, actually 11 months.
Well, you had the ability to affect change. You had the ability to foster an environment. And all I'm trying to determine today is if we overturn the city's decision, how are you, because this isn't written about anybody else other than you,
Right.
how are you going to be able to foster a positive relationship and a positive work environment?
Well, first of all, actually having a sit down and having a real conversation with Mr. Penny about his expectations, what he wants to see happen. How can I integrate change? How can I be a part of that change? Because that never happened. Never happened.
All right.
I knew what was expected of me of the previous director because told me.
Right. Okay.
When he came in, I had no expectations of what he wanted. He may not have wanted the same thing the previous director wanted from me. So for me, I was waiting for us to have those conversations, determine the best way for it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Ralph, real fast.
Basically, he asking you, what would be your change with the employees? What would your personality be? Would you have any animosity against the people in here that came in and said negative things about you? That's
No.
basically what he wanted.
No, I wouldn't have any animosity toward him. It's not a reason. I didn't have an animosity before I got fired. It was animosity in the apartment when I took over. That went back to the previous director. Mr. Penn know that. We talked about that. But to make me the catalyst for that, that's totally inaccurate. That's not even close to being accurate. And we did do some change. Well, I told her there was some change. There was some change. There was some change.
All right. Anything, anybody else got anything? Go fast.
I have one question.
Yes.
On September the 2nd, it said that you printed out 46 purchase orders. After that first set on that day, did you know that it was in your name?
No,
Okay.
nobody ever
So
told me. And I'm glad you brought that number up because when Ms. Williams came, she said it was 300.
She said it was 200.
200, okay, 200. No,
I'm sorry, she said that, and this is what my interpretation when she said is that it was, she told him about 2 o'clock that it was printed incorrectly, and he said he was to get it fixed, and then there continued to be printing after that. That was the allegation, and that was what she corroborated that conversation.
but I wouldn't print them.
But she said after they had printed 200 of them, they stopped.
Right, once they realized how many there were, they stopped and got it fixed. Yes.
And she also stated from August 4th until the change was made, my name was on them. So how many was that? Did they reprint those? How many was that? How many printed with my name until they made the change from August 4th? I guarantee you, it wasn't 100, it was several hundred. Several hundred.
Why did you say that you would contact IT? I know we
I didn't.
established that.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
we know that.
Right, it wasn't a reason for me to,
Right, but you're saying you didn't say that at all?
no.
You never said
No.
that?
And again, her witness statement said, she told me at the end of the day. It's right there in her witness statement, at the end of the day. So we were exiting the office. And why would I tell her I was gonna contact IT? I didn't know a reason to, I didn't know anything was wrong. There wasn't a reason to contact IT. I didn't know anything was wrong. Neither did she or Ms. Holmes, Doreen Holmes, tell me that their name, that my name had got reprinted on those purchase orders. Nobody told me that. Ms. Sutton didn't tell me that. Nobody told me that. I didn't find out about this until I was getting terminated. And this is the major infraction. Nobody told me. And what nobody said, if they had let me know whatever, I could have done the reprints. I could have called IT if somebody had done the reprints myself. I did it as interim director. But you notice one of the witnesses said, if a purchase order was printed on a different director and you did a reprint, that director's name's still gonna be on it. Which means I signed plenty of them with Jerry Sam's name on it. The purchase order, yeah, is a liability for the city. It prints the director's name. Mr. Schroer, our finance director, didn't come, but I wanted him to verify, and he told me countless times, Darryl, I would not pay a purchase order unless you sign it. A wet signature, not a pre-print, a wet signature. So all the POs that get printed, whether it's got my name or Mr. Pennett's name, it required another signature, a wet signature.
So you did have to approve it before anyone could print, right? Correct?
No, after they were printed. See, it comes, in your booklet, it's an example of a PO. It showed one with mine and one with his, we made the change. We still had to physically sign them in order for finance to pay.
And so
The
before that
the
step.
director had to.
So before that step, that's towards the end, but what I'm asking is that before they're ever printed, you would have had to approve it, correct? Someone has to approve the purchase order.
Ms. Holmes, and tell us they're ready for work. It's a real convoluted system with no policy and no procedure. IT has told you that it's something, nobody knows the policies and procedures. Because it was established with the previous director. So what Mr. Pennant is doing is the same thing I'm doing, going by what they normally did. Normally did. With no instruction. What take place before that? It was no benefit to me for my name to go back on there. None whatsoever. And Ms. Sutton stated, I requested my name off of it. And when they take my name off, nobody told me. Nobody told me. Not the director, not the team, nobody told me. And it was still trying to figure out when did it happen, who knew. But you would think the director would have informed me. It happened while I was on vacation. It happened while I was on vacation. Not one time did staff or the director let me know that his name was not on the forms. IT didn't let me know there had been a change. The director didn't know. His admin didn't let me, nobody let me know. But yet and still you asked me to print, hadn't printed not one time since he took over this particular day. And this is the result, and I didn't find out until I was being terminated.
I just have one more question. So during the 11 months that you were interim director, did you ever give approvals before printing? During your 11 months of being interim director, did you ever have to approve the POs before Ms. Holmes printed? Did it ever come to you for approval?
No, that's not the way it works. She gets approved. They're inputted by different department, whoever's putting in a PO. Ms. Holmes goes and verifies there's certain things there in order for them to become a PO. And they start as requisitions. Everybody does a requisition, put it in. She checks for various things to make sure they can be generated into a PO. She does, once she does that, then it goes to printers, people who have the ability to print. That will be Mr. Pennant, it was Ms. Sutton, and it was me, because he never took me on.
I'm familiar with the process. I'm so sorry. I'm familiar with the process. I just wanted to know if you had ever given approvals while you were interim director before they're actually printed in procurement. That's all I was asking.
I'm trying to understand, because you said, have I ever given approval?
Yes, because it's in a statement, but in the beginning of your write-up, in the beginning of your termination letter, it's part of the documentation within the paragraph. So I was just trying to establish whether or not you gave approvals during your time as interim director before. But you said no.
All right, I'm going to entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I apologize, I haven't been able to give a closing yet. Can we
We're at the, with the lack of time, could we waive the closing? Would it be okay to waive the closing, or is there something you need to add?
Can I just give a 60-second closing?
Without objection.
I just want to reiterate that this is a clear lack of leadership, lack of accountability, and willful ignorance upon Mr. White's behalf. Everything he says, it's always someone else's fault, and he has taken no accountability what he should have done as a leader. He is not just an employee. He was a leader in this department. Even from interim to deputy director, he had an obligation in that position to do more than what he did. And through everything that he did, even with his staff afterwards, he always said, they never came to me, they didn't ask me, I didn't know, because he didn't ask any questions. You cannot run a department and not ask any questions. You can't just operate like that. So he got a specific request to do to ask for the, to change the credit card, increase it, and instead of doing that increase, he proceeded to act as if that was his, he was back interim director. He wasn't a deputy director who had been given a specific directive. So I just want to reiterate that you have to do more than just exist as a deputy director. You are a leader still. Thank you.
Ms. White, real quick.
Okay, in closing, I heard what you said. I would challenge opposing counsel with her client take the initiative to leave. Never instructed me, never included me in decision making that he was doing or trying to do. Never. Never. So what was his accountability? He was the director. He was the director. I wasn't the director anymore. He was the director. So he should have been getting with me, or I would add something, I would think, to help move his agenda forward. If you're having a party and you want people to come, you got to invite them. You just don't crash a party. To me, I felt like I would have been crashing a party. You have to invite me. And I think this all sums it up. And I don't know how you know, if you look at his statement where he gave his justification for me, for terminating me, he said he thought my goal was for him to fail because I didn't get the job. Then the commission would appoint me interim again, and ultimately I would become director. I'm trying to figure out how Mr. Penny know that. We never had a conversation about me applying for the job, so how do you know I applied for the job? He don't even know if I applied for the job. He didn't get it from me. And if you listen to all the time, it's all hearsay. She said, I never took accountability for what? How can I take accountability for something I have no knowledge of? No knowledge of. The IT person couldn't explain what happened. So, you say I didn't do enough. Okay, I take it. What did he do? How did he inform me? How did he inform me? Where's his accountability? He's the director. I'm supposed to be his deputy. No meetings. I asked HR for certain things. One of the things that any emails between me and Mr. Penny, they can find one as it related to work, not one. Not one. Not one email to work or anything. So where's this accountability? She wants to know, where's his? He was the director. He was the director. He set the tone. That was different for me than everybody else.
Out of time. Yeah, we need to wrap this up. I will now entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion, we go into executive session.
Without objection, we are now in executive session.
Overturn.
Mr. Riles,
Overturn.
Mr. McCaster,
Overturn.
Ms. Myers,
Overturn.
Mr. Masters is not in the room, but he did vote to overturn. Ms. Dunn?
Abstain.
She is, Ms. Dunn has abstained. I, as chairman, have voted to overturn. Any other further business before the board?
I make a motion that the meeting is adjourned.
Second. Without objection. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate your time and your effort on this.